Finland's Eurovision 2020 star is Aksel K. I cannot pronounce his last name. And you guys, hello, turn around. Hello, Debin, Jonathan. They are looking back. They need to be looking forward and at Aksel. Should we talk about his song?
Let's do this.
You guys, if you follow Eurovision, you will be well aware of Uuden Musiikan Kilpailu UMK 2020. There was, of course, a fan favorite in Cicciolina, but Aksel, he came out, he delivered, and he won despite the odds. This song is very, very well put together. It's all about making the most of the moment and not spending all of your time anchored in the past. If you look at the lyrics, he says, "We were young and naive, didn't know what we need. We were in such a rush to grow up, aka in a rush to get out of here, that they forgot to live in that moment, honey."
Chasing the high life, stuck in the low lights, but we never know what we had until it's over and we're looking back, speeding through red lights. We had a good ride.
I think this song is polished, produced. He can sing. He can sing, and the staging in Finland really, really elevated this. I thought it looked expensive. I thought it was creative. I thought it made Måns Zelmerlöw's projections look a bit basic, actually. This was Måns Zelmerlöw, 2020 as opposed to Måns Zelmerlöw 2015 when we talk about the graphics, the street light, the people holding hands, the people walking, the sheath in front of him, that mosquito net on which things were projected. In any case, I'm waffling. Porig, what do you think?
I think that this is possibly one of the more underrated songs this year, and it got a lot of slack when it won the national final ahead of Cicciolina. That had the fan base all behind it. Everybody wanted their Schlager bop about an ex-porn star, and they didn't get it. And this is kind of nearly as far away from that song as you could get. It's very looking like into yourself and thoughtful, and it's very slow. But there's aspects I like about it. When you hear it, when it comes on, it makes nice background music, and it's pleasant, and it has nice instrumental to it. But then when I look at the live version, even though it has all these gizmos going on backstage with the lighting and everything, all the graphics all around him, I don't really believe it that much, that he doesn't sell it to me. And I think part of that is that maybe he doesn't have the charisma to deliver it enough. And also, he's only 22 and he's singing about how we should live in the moment and not forget our youth. And he's barely out of his youth. Some would say he's still in his youth. So it's kind of hard to believe, coming from him, such a deep song. This is nearly a song that someone in the middle-aged or old age would be singing. But apart from all that, if I ignore the lyrics and all that, I do like the song.
Jonathan in England.
I agree that this has been heavily underrated. I think there's something really beautifully it's got a really nice melancholy feel about it. It's one of the songs this year that just wraps me up in a blanket. And I didn't, because of the big hype around Cicciolina and all of that, I didn't have this so much on my radar. And then when I listened to it after it won, I just got goosebumps and I fell in love instantly. It's one of the songs that I have on a loop in my head. I find the hook sticks in my head really easily. This is has become one of my favourite ballads of the year. I think Aksel has a beautiful voice. I think I agree with Porig that he could have done more in the national final to sort of sell it. Hopefully, they could have worked on that for Eurovision. But yeah, I I just get really emotional when I listen to this, and I think it has sort of taken on a new twist with the cancellation of Eurovision and how, looking back, we were, battling over fan favourites and stuff like that. That, doesn't seem that important anymore because, we don't have Eurovision 2020. This is one of the songs that is the closest to making me shed a tear.
Debin, Jonathan is in a blanket. My question for you, is your blanket wet or electric?
The main tagline in this song is, we never know what we had until it's over, and then we're looking back. And it sums up this song perfectly, because this is the song that after its semi-final, or even let's even say after Eurovision is over, you're looking back and saying, well, entries that didn't make the cut. Oh, why? The merits of this song is very much post-listen. It's deep. It appears to be deep, and it has a sort of a reflective tone, but it lacks immediacy. It doesn't stand out. And whilst Aksel won the Voice of Finland, no doubt he does have a good voice. I think everybody knew that with him coming into the competition. And, his vocal delivery on this track is really strong. And despite his shyness, he does emote somewhat. I mean, he's hidden by a screen. Let's not forget that. But this song really, this would not have advanced into the finals. It's one of those songs that's like Blackbird. Beautiful, lovely to listen to, very, sort of has a very cinematic sort of really, it gives a serious tone to Eurovision, but no one's picking up their phone. And this would have suffered the same fate.
Chasing the high life, stuck in the low lights. This would not be stuck in the semi-final. Let me tell you why, hunty. So I was on the jury for the UK in Uuden Musiikin Kilpailu, and in the jury room, it was very, very interesting to hear the jurors from all these different countries, Russia and Germany, for instance. Often you don't lob them together. They were both waxing and waning lyrical about how much they loved this. This was the clear jury favorite. It was getting points from all over the continent. People didn't think anyone except Erika Wickman was going to Eurovision, and Aksel defied the odds, and he got through. And I do think he could have made the final in, where will we go in? Rotterdam. Look at his songwriting team, okay? I just have to shout out real quick to Whitney Phillips, LA-based, Grammy-nominated. She's worked with Celine Dion, Christina Aguilera, Zara Larsson, Nick Jonas, Troye Sivan. She knows how to craft a song, and clearly this had appeal if it appealed so broadly to jurors in Finland. I also think, as we've all said or hinted at in some way, when there's a fan favorite as strong as Erika Wickman was in the studio form, it can really blind you to everything else. We've all been guilty of it at some point in some selection. I'm not even going to name the list of names, because then the comments section will end up talking about other videos altogether, other acts. This was strong on its own. I'm not talking like relative to anything else, just on its own. It's very, very good. It's very high impact. I think the staging that they had in UMK, people don't realize this. It was a small studio. It really wasn't a big arena, but it looked quite impressive on TV because they managed to use their camera tricks, etc. So if they actually had a vast stage with even more technology, as opposed to like the studio in this conference center, this would have been even more banging. What does an Aksel do? An Aksel grinds, honey. It creates sparks. It creates heat. It warms up that blanket that Jonathan is apparently wrapped in, okay? It sounds to me like Debin doesn't have a blanket, so I'm serving you one through the Skype on tape.
Before you throw attitude at me, can I just point out that blanket was working in a field of 6. This is 41 entries where you're listening to song after song after song. Immediacy, impact, those are things that truly stand out. You talk about the songwriting team. Do you know what I could write? I could write a dissertation on the amount of songwriters, credible songwriters who have died in the settings. Oh, actually, let me even put it this way. Who have died in national selections. Can we not forget that Darude was selected to represent Finland last year? Not only has he composed anthems which still play today, he is also a known performer. Clearly, the merit and...
Darude ain't the singer. Darude is the DJ. He ain't the singer. Listen, Hunty.
Former boo.
Eurovision. All these other acts often focus on the vision. But my man Aksel, he can sing, okay? So amid all the explosions, you know, all the confetti, all the glitter, all the thrusting, all the popping, he would stand there in his Mao Zedong tunic and he would slay. He would stand out for not blowing it up.
UMK? Who was your douze point at UMK?
I did rank Erica Vickman first. I did. However, that doesn't mean the second place is bad. Just like when we were in Romania, the songs that we put second, third, fourth, fifth weren't bad. It's just the number one was our number one. Do you see? You can have multiple songs. Albania this year, I could pick 3 or 4 songs. I would absolutely love to see at Eurovision. It doesn't mean 3 and 4 were bad if I ranked them behind 1 and 2.
Well, let's put it this way. Aksel would have been in my semi, right? He would have made my Eurovision 41 entry. Okay. I love you too.
All right, well, look, speeding through red lights, we had a good ride, but we never know what we have until it's over and we're looking back. Why don't we go around and give our scores out of 10 along with a justification, starting with Poor Again Ireland.
I think that looking back is a credible entry, and it's a big step up from Darude last year, because that deserved to be last, as it did. It was last in semi, and it deserved to be last. But he only had to be, like Devin said, he only had to be the best of 6. He only had to do better than 6. Even if he was to get into the top 10 in a semi-final, there are other performers, male performers, doing similar styles, creating similar atmospheres, and doing it better. At the top of my head, I can think of Italy and Netherlands. And I think then that if he did get to the final, he will get lost. But it's still a credible entry, so I'm giving it a 7.
This hovers in and out of my top 10. I gave this an 8 out of 10. I have fallen in love with this song. I know I'm sure my score is probably on the higher end of this Wiwi jury ranking. With all the reception that it's had, I'm not sure how it necessarily would have done, sort of to try and make a prediction. But I think there are elements where Aksel could have really tapped into the same emotional connection that Michael Schulte did for Germany. I think there are definitely strong positives for this to go through. I think it might have just slipped in sort of between 8th and 10th. But yeah, this is one that I will be listening to for a long time.
Until it's over, and then we are looking back. This is the song that we're going to look back at. This was not designed for the grand final of Eurovision 2020, which would mean it wasn't actually designed for pretty much any grand final, because this has been the weakest field of songs for years. And whilst his song is actually very credible, is very good, it's got very meaningful lyrics, and clearly he can sing and somewhat emote, it still doesn't stand out. And you know what? It's just not enough. You just need that sizzle factor. And I think it's typical. He won The Voice, not the X Factor. And yeah, it's a 5.5.
Listen, I'm going to shout out real quick to Shumio Masuno and the book Zen, The Art of Living Simply, okay? And when I think of Shumio Masuno, I think of Aksel, okay? Simplicity, because simple living is often the best living. That's on page 32. You just need to strip stuff back and you can move forward. And I think that's what Aksel has done. He's a very shy person. You can see this in the interview that our Diana Atanojova did on Wiwibloggs on our YouTube channel. She met him when the songs came out, and she also interviewed him again after he won Uuden Muziikan Kilpailu. That's Diana from Kaliningrad. Hello. You get a sense of the man. He's very, he doesn't want to be all flashy. And I think that vulnerability, that fragility, that sensitivity is why this works. I like that he's very confident as a performer, but you still see the frailty. It's very clear when he's performing. And it works. He works with it. And he makes magic with that. Yes, Devin.
What was Coco Chanel's motto on fashion?
Before you leave your house, you better take something off. Okay? off. Okay. In any case, he only has on a Mao Zedong tunic. So if he takes anything off, there will be nothing left. Now look, my score was locked. Oh, it's okay, actually. It's a 7.5. It's a 7.5. Yeah, so, similar. Like, I don't think this was the winner of Eurovision 2020, but I think it's very respectable. And I'd say, actually, of Finland songs in the past decade, this would be in the upper half for me in terms of, like, quality, polish, finish. Yeah. Devin, you said something snarky, but I didn't hear you, Hunty.
No. I'm just loving Porrick's new look. I'm digging it.
The art of simplicity. Simple living.
Simple living.
In any case, we are not the only Wiwibloggs. There are dozens of them all over the earth, and they also have submitted scores out of 10. And when we take the overall global average, we get, cue the drumroll sound effect, please. Not a cheap one from YouTube, a nice one from YouTube. We get a 6.5. 6.5. So, mixed picture there, but yeah, I'd say slightly above average.
Yeah.
Oh.
Who cares at this point? I mean, it's not like we're going to hear him. I probably won't see him again.
Well, he said that he's submitting a song for Uden Musiken Kilpailu 2021, so in fact, you may see him again.
That's really good. That's really good.
Yeah.
I love his voice.
In any case, that's what we think. What do you think? Are you looking back and looping Aksel's looking back? Let us know here on Wiwibloggs.
Make sure to subscribe to watch the rest of our Wiwi Jury videos.
Give this video a thumbs up and leave your comments down below.
Yes, and we will see you later.
Bye.
Bye.